Have you ever experienced a season where heaven felt quiet? You prayed, you waited, you listened, and yet nothing seemed to come back. No clear answer, no obvious sign, no dramatic breakthrough. Just silence. For many people, that silence feels unsettling. It can create doubt. It can make us wonder if we're being ignored, forgotten, or somehow disconnected from God. In a world where instant responses are normal, texts, emails, notifications, real-time updates, divine silence can feel almost foreign. But what if we've misunderstood silence altogether? What if God's quiet isn't absence, but communication of a different kind? What if His silence is not rejection, but invitation? Today, let's explore a revolutionary perspective. Divine silence may be one of God's most profound ways of speaking. Think about meaningful human relationships. Some of the deepest moments don't involve words at all. A parent holding a child in a difficult moment, two friends sitting together after loss, a couple watching a sunset without needing to speak. Silence in those moments isn't emptiness, it's presence. In fact, sometimes words would weaken the moment. Could it be the same with God? Scripture often shows that God speaks, but it also shows that He allows seasons of quiet. Even strong believers experience times when heaven seemed silent. David cried out in the Psalms, "How long, Lord, will you forget me forever?" That question isn't rebellion, it's honesty, and it shows something powerful. Faith isn't the absence of questions. Faith is continuing the relationship even when answers are delayed. Let's consider why silence might actually serve a purpose. When answers come instantly, trust isn't stretched, but when God seems quiet, we're invited to trust His character rather than His immediate responses. It shifts us from, "God, prove yourself to me," to, "God, I trust you even when I don't see everything." That kind of trust creates spiritual maturity. It's similar to learning to walk. At some point, support loosens, not because help disappeared, but because growth requires independence. Silence may be God's way of helping us develop resilient faith. Divine silence often forces us to pause, to reflect, to ask deeper questions. What am I really seeking? What is shaping my decisions? Am I listening to God or just waiting for validation? Sometimes the answer we seek isn't external, it's internal transformation. Silence creates space for that. If God spoke loudly all the time, subtle spiritual perception might never develop, but quiet seasons train us to listen differently, not just for words, but for peace or unrest in our spirit, wisdom through Scripture, guidance through circumstances, insight through prayer and reflection. Silence can sharpen spiritual awareness.
But here's the paradox. The quieter God seems, the more carefully we tend to listen. Think about Elijah in the Old Testament. He expected God in dramatic displays, wind, earthquake, fire. But God came in what Scripture describes as a still, small voice. Not overwhelming, not theatrical, just quiet but unmistakable. Sometimes God communicates not through volume, but through depth. Let's be honest, divine silence can feel deeply personal. You pray about a financial need, a health concern, a relationship issue, a major life decision, and the answer doesn't come quickly. That can create emotional tension. But consider this, delay is not denial. Silence is not abandonment. There are countless testimonies where clarity came later and people realized timing mattered. Sometimes what we interpret as silence is actually preparation, protection, redirection, or spiritual development. God sees outcomes we don't. Another perspective, silence invites intimacy. Constant instructions can create dependency, but quiet presence fosters relationships. It shifts faith from "tell me what to do next" to Walk with me, Lord, even when I don't see the full path. And that is a deeper form of connection. So, how do we respond constructively when God seems quiet? Here are some spiritual practices that can help. Stay consistent in prayer. Silence isn't a reason to stop praying. It's often a reason to pray differently. Less transactional, more relational. Instead of, God, fix this immediately, try, God, help me understand what you're doing in me through this. That shift changes perspective. Immerse yourself in Scripture. Even when God feels silent personally, His revealed word remains accessible. Scripture becomes a stabilizing voice. Many believers find that when direct answers seem absent, God speaks through timeless truth. Ironically, we often struggle with God's silence while filling our lives with noise. Intentional quiet, reflection time, prayer walks, journaling, meditation on Scripture.
These practices make space for subtle guidance, because God doesn't always communicate verbally. Sometimes guidance comes through opportunities opening or closing, wise counsel from others, inner peace or caution, life experiences shaping perspective. Silence doesn't mean inactivity. God may still be working behind the scenes. One of the greatest tests of faith is trusting God's character when clarity is delayed. That's not blind faith. It's informed trust based on past faithfulness, scriptural promises, personal spiritual experience. Faith grows strongest not in constant certainty, but in faithful perseverance. Many believers later reflect on silent seasons and realize those times produced spiritual depth, emotional resilience, greater empathy for others, stronger dependence on God, clearer priorities. Silence can shape character in ways constant answers cannot. Interestingly, silence often ends unexpectedly. Clarity comes, direction appears, understanding unfolds, and sometimes hindsight reveals why waiting mattered. We see protection we didn't recognize, preparation we didn't appreciate, growth we didn't notice at the time. Silence rarely lasts forever, but its impact often lasts a lifetime. If you're currently experiencing what feels like divine silence, consider this possibility. You're not being ignored. You may be being prepared, being strengthened, being redirected, or being invited into deeper trust. God's quiet doesn't cancel His presence. Sometimes it confirms it, because relationship with God isn't built solely on audible answers. It's built on ongoing connection. Maybe the greatest message of divine silence is this: God doesn't always speak loudly because He wants us to grow deeply. Silence isn't emptiness. It can be sacred space, spiritual formation, quiet assurance, hidden guidance. And sometimes, silence itself is the message, a reminder to trust, to reflect, to grow, to listen beyond words. So the next time heaven seems quiet, don't rush to assume absence. Pause, lean in, listen differently, because God's quiet may be more eloquent than you ever imagined. If this message spoke to you today, take a moment, reflect, pray, and stay open, because even in silence, God is still communicating.